नित्यानन्दं परमसुखदं केवलं ज्ञानमूर्तिं द्वन्द्वातीतं गगनसदृशं तत्त्वमस्यादिलक्ष्यम् एकं नित्यं विमलमचलं सर्वधी साक्षिभूतं भावातीतं त्रिगुणरहितं सद्गुरुं तं नमामि. Nityanandam, welcome to Cooking Up Bhakti for Bhagavad Shastra today for June 10th, 2017. So I just wanted to share some more things about food and food in the Indian tradition because it's such an important part of what we do. Um, one of the things you'll see in India, at least in South India, is almost anytime you see someone, they'll ask you if you had your dinner, had your breakfast, had your food, and it's such an important thing. And if you haven't, then a lot of times they'll immediately take you to give you food. So it's a very important part of Hinduism and the Vedic tradition. Um, also, um, I mean, but even aside from that, some of the things that we've done uh, through the Bhagavad Shastra and sharing those things. So these traditions and food styles will differ even throughout. You travel 100 kilometers in India, and you get a completely different lifestyle, like a completely different way of dressing, completely different language, completely different way of food preparation. So all these different things are found all throughout India. But throughout India, the preparation of food and sharing of food is very important. So what I found is that food has been a really important part of the Vedic tradition. People are always really excited to share it. We'll have food here in the Adinam available around the clock, and whenever someone comes, the first thing we're always offering them food. Um, and so, of course, we always offer our food first to the deities. Um, so it's the reminder that there's something bigger than yourself. So, and part of the puja is offering all the things that we use to sustain our life and our body to the divine first, as an act of gratitude and remembrance for what it is that's most important and that sustains us. And then once that's blessed through offering to the divine, then we can consume that and receive those blessings also. So yeah, so that's the thing is everyone is always eating, but why they're eating and what they're eating and how they're preparing and what inner space they're holding with regard to what they're eating will be completely different. So it's the intention that you hold is much more important than the action that you take. So whatever intention you're holding, then when you move your body with that action, that intention gets engraved in your muscle memory. So it reproduces itself in your bloodstream and in your thinking patterns and literally in your physical brain. So the intention that you hold is much more important than the actions that you take. So we have to make sure that we have the proper intention. And so this whole Bhagavad Shastra is um, coming from the source Shiva. So that intention is with causing yourself and others to become and live as superconscious beings. So with that highest intention, then everything we do supports us towards reproducing that goal in ourselves and others. Um, so one of the recipes that I just wanted to share today is for the idli actually. So idli is a really common, mainly breakfast item in South India. It's a little bit lighter than say rice or something. And in this case, we have chutney also on the side. So these, so idli is like kind of like a steamed puff, steamed rice cake. So um, basically, it will be a mixture of rice and sometimes usually a black dal or some kind of lentil, and so it'll just be ground up for quite a long time until it becomes quite a fluffy consistency, and then mixed together and then steamed in either a steamer or a pressure cooker, and so it becomes a flat. So it's also the rice is also fermented, um, so that kind of helps to support digestion. So many things in the Vedic tradition is supporting digestion. So like they'll say that the master can digest anything, and uh, that's one of the things that Swamiji does in the Maheshwar Puja is by receiving the offering of food, he digests all the incompletions of the departed beings and releases them from any of their karmas, blesses them with liberation. So, um, so the fermentation process is possible mainly through the presence of the dal. So there will be microbes in there that allow the fermentation process to happen. So increase the uh, microbial content of the dal and rice mixture through the fermentation process, and so it helps to support digestion. So it's basically a lighter breakfast food than like a rice or something heavy like that. So it's often eaten with either sambar or chutney. So in this case, we have chutney as a side dish. So chutney will usually be made of either coconut or groundnut, like a peanut. In this case, it's made of coconut and also curry leaves, mustard seeds, a little bit of oil, and so the red chili is there. And yeah, that's the main ingredients here. But chutney can also be made with mint, it can be made out of tomato. You can add green chili, almond, many other things. But it's a pretty popular side dish. And for me, it's one of my favorites because I really like coconut. I really like the sweet taste of the coconut and also coconut water. I really like curry leaves for their iron content and the chilies. Uh, chilies is really great. Actually, the saliva will be used even as a medicine. Like if you have some kind of wound, the suggestion is coming from the yoga tradition. So in the early morning, in the Brahma Muhurta, the time generally between 4 a.m. and 6 a.m., but like the 1 hour before, approximately 1 hour before the sunrise, that 1.5 hours, um, as an approximate definition of the Brahma Muhurta, uh, in this early morning time, if you can use your saliva to massage for any kind of wound, actually, and help to heal that. So saliva actually contains very powerful content itself, and so when you bite into the chili, it will release a lot of saliva. So when you're eating something uh, with a lot of saliva, then it helps in the digestion process. So if you're supporting the production of saliva because of the food that you're eating, for example, the chili, then when that saliva goes with the food, you'll never have any digestion problems. So some of the other things. So basically, what will happen is the uh, the the dal that is used along with the rice, it'll be soaked for maybe 1 or 2 hours and then ground for depending on what consistency you want. for anywhere between 30 minutes to an hour, and then mixed together. So people may also add things like fenugreek seeds, carrots, different spices to the idli mixture. Um, Basically, that's it. Then it is fermented for usually overnight, somewhere around 8 hours, depending on your preference, and then steamed in either the steamer or the pressure cooker. So some of the benefits of this is like there's no saturated fats, no cholesterol, but there's carbohydrates are there, proteins are there, the digestive enzymes, uh, amino acids, and fiber. So um, yeah, so there's always a lot of benefits to any kind of food from the Ayurvedic or Vedic system. Even the simple food like the idli that is basically just ground dal and ground rice and steamed. One of the other things is with uh, with the there's one lila of Shiva, with one of his incarnations. Then he incarnated as a worker, and so when he reported for work, then he asked to be fed before starting the work, and so the lady there she fed him idli, and he kept wanting more and more and more and more, and he ate everything that she could provide. So she was basically with his compassion. See, Shiva is the one who will not judge you. It's just your devotion to him, just your integration to Shiva is the only thing that he measures. And so he'll grant anyone boons who is integrated to him, even Ravana, demon. So when we, so Shiva incarnates as a worker and he goes to Vali and he asks for food before he starts to work. And he's saying, oh, there's idli is so great. Please give me more and more and more. So he eats more and more and more until she cannot provide any more. And so she feels fulfilled that he is accepting and wanting her cooking. And so after that, all he does, he just goes to sleep. He doesn't do any work. And so anyway, it's basically a story about his compassion for everyone, even some who you think as who you may think as a lowly person. His compassion for them to just be there to support them and support their growth and give them the conscious breakthrough. So even if it's in the form of just eating their food, just to give them the fulfillment of that, and then even showing that the work is not even important, but just that he's there to fulfill her, uh, actually. So he eats all the food and then goes to sleep, and then later people come to punish him, and they actually end up striking him physically, and actually all beings feel that blow, and it's only at that moment that they realize who he is. So anyway, it's one of the Leelas of Shiva, one of his incarnations, and one of the examples of how he comes down just through pure compassion to fulfill any and all beings in as simple of way as it may be. So one of the other things is, so basically when we're eating uh, in the Vedic tradition, then we'll be sitting on the floor. So you sit in a cross-leg position, and actually the food should be on the floor in front of you. So what it means is that instead of like having like a Thanksgiving dinner where you like undo the belt buckle and top couple buttons, and then like lean back in your chair and dump as much food as you possibly can in, and then sleep for the rest of the day. It's like generally a yogi will not act like that. So the whole Vedic tradition is designed to make everyone a yogi, understanding everyone is a yogi and supporting everyone's development as a yogi. So basically, you sit with your head, neck, and spine in a straight line, and you sit on the floor. So there's something that happens in the system when pressure is put on your bottom. Actually, it contributes to like stability and inner awareness, and helps to stabilize and deepen your breath. Um, and It gives a sense of calmness, and so you can take your time to enjoy the food. And then the food is placed on the floor in front of you. So when you're eating, you'll be leaning forward. So you'll be more aware of the amount of food that is going inside. And a lot of times, um, the amount of food that is suggested to be eaten will be like fill 50% of the stomach with food, and the next 25% with liquid, and the remaining 25% with prana or through breathing. So what this does is it ensures that the Jataragni, which is like the digestive fire in your system, that is also supported by the red chili. So it's people who who may be cold in the winter, coming from Canada. So people who may be cold in Canada during the winter, trying to find out what they can do. One of the things you can do to support the digestive fire is just every once in a while you take a red chili and just chew on it and eat it. So it'll help to warm up the body and it'll help to increase the digestive fire, the Jetar Agni. So it'll be digesting the food more quickly. So what happens is when you fill yourself with food and it's not quickly or easily digested, then a lot of your a lot of your energy goes into digesting the food, and so your body temperature may drop. Whereas if you and it kind of goes to suffocate the digestive fire, but like you'll see, like if you haven't eaten for a while, you can get a lot of heat, right, and a lot of stress, and so even what will happen is that the digestive fire will constantly be going on, and when there's no food in the stomach, the heat will start to increase and start to spread throughout the body. So one of the things with the yogic tradition is how to harness and utilize uh, these energies for enlightenment. So what can we do with all the energies happening in our body to channel them towards the higher centers? So the lower centers in our body, like the root center, will be associated with like fantasy and lust, and just above that, although the navel will be associated with fear, and the navel itself will be associated with worry. So you know if you're worrying or you're something is troubling you and you eat, you can easily get indigestion. So we can see how your mental state is directly associated with physical parts of your body. So again, so the heart center is associated with love and overflowing, spreading love to others versus looking for attention, having attention. So these are like four of the major chakras, um, and so they're affected by your mental and emotional state. And as we move up on the body, then we have the throat center, which is associated with your overflowing unique energy. So as you express your uniqueness, energy grows, and it's a bottomless resource of overflowing energy. And then the Agni chakra, which is associated with ego and intelligence, and actually simplicity and innocence. And then the top of the head, which is associated with gratitude and basically your ability to express gratitude to everything that happens in existence. So what happens actually is at the time of physical maturity, the creation center um, near the root of the spine is awakened, and at the time of adolescence, and so a huge amount of energy, actually the creation energy, starts happening there in the body. But what do we do about it? We don't want our mind to be pulled down to those parts of the body, to that fantasy and lust, and our intelligence and our gratitude to be diminished and overly focused on those kind of energies. What we want is to channel that kind of energy up through the body. So if there's a lot of energy happening in your body, what we want to do is we want to channel it up the spine to ultimately have it come out the top of the head as gratitude. Um, Alternatively, depending on, even when Swamiji is doing initiations, he'll use the Atmalinga to pull the energies up out through the Agnya chakra, depending on what kind of initiation. But but generally, one of the understandings is that we want to take the energies that are caught in fear and lust and worry and move them up the spine towards love, overflowing energy, intelligence, and gratitude. So when you're always in the space of gratitude, it's the ultimate attitude. So nothing can stop you. Whatever happens, you express full gratitude for it. You'll keep your energy flowing. And see, Swamiji will give you the energy of Kundalini awakening. So that will be rising through your spine. So when you can direct that gratitude towards him, then it becomes a virtuous circle. So whereas we're so often caught in a vicious cycle where we're caught into lust and addictions with food or coffee or smoking, and even worry and anger and self-hatred, but we get caught in the lower emotions of worry and fear and fantasy, um, rather than expressing overflowing love, energy, intelligence, and gratitude. So we get caught in those things as patterns. So that's one of the awesome things of being with Swamiji, because he gives you so much energy. And really, really, the goal is just to be open to give it back to him in gratitude. So when you do that, you become an open channel for that vast cosmic energy, and literally you can feel your aura expand, and you start to create the kind of things in your life that you want to create in order to express yourself as the kind of being that you want to be. Um, so food is one part of that. So it's like so often when we see something, we'll say, "I want to make that part of me," and like especially if we're um, uh, engaging in a non-vegetarian diet, it's like if there's an animal carcass in front of me, then I want to make that part of me. It's like I'm using my stomach as an animal burial ground. And so the thing is, when you eat the um, dead animals, what happens is certain kinds of bodies are capable of storing muscle memory, and certain kinds of bodies are not. Like for example, a blade of grass, it won't store a significant amount of muscle memory. Same with like a single celled organism or an ant or something. The kind of biomemory that is required to store muscle memory and pass it on to from one body to the next begins basically as a fish. So a fish is kind of the most simplistic biomemory that is capable of passing its qualities on to another body. So that's basically why we avoid, and one of the reasons why we avoid um, eating meat. Because, for example, when an animal is slaughtered, like say it's a pig or a cow, when that animal is slaughtered, it goes through a lot of fear, a lot of pain, a lot of anger. And so those hormones are released into the bloodstream and then solidified in the muscles. And then you literally are eating that. So we know how just a small chemical imbalance with such changes through testosterone or estrogen or adrenaline, just a small amount can change our attitude completely. And like if you're in a bad mood, if you're tired in the morning and you just take a little bit of tea or coffee, how it can instantly, literally instantly change um, your entire mental and emotional setup. So you can imagine if you're eating a cow that's full of blood, that's full of anger and hatred, um, and misunderstanding and lust and worry, because when it died, it released all the pain and anger chemicals into the blood and solidified it. You're eating that, right? It would be like drinking a bottle of testosterone or something. What is that going to do to you? We know what happens to bodybuilders who inject themselves with testosterone. So it's not only that, but it's your mental and emotional setup, how you refer and interact with other people, and how you regard them and how you live with them. So the food and how you regard food is really important. Like for us, really after having been more committed with Swamiji in the last couple of years and learning more things, um, what has happened for me, because our routine starts at 4 a.m., but basically around 3:30 every morning. And so what it means is we go to sleep, whatever time you go to sleep, 11:30, 12:30, 1:30, um, rest for a little bit, and then get up and prepare for yoga. So the first thing we do is get up around 3:30, or at least by 4:50 or 3:50, in order to be in the hall by 3:55. So at least we're awake by 3:52, or even 3:55, we could say. And so at least you're awake before 4 a.m. And then the first thing we do before eating or anything is heavy yoga. So what it does is it breaks a lot of your patterns, and it breaks a lot of your impossibility, because you're immediately doing your heavy workout, which is something that a lot of people think they have to save till the afternoon or evening, or at least they have to eat some food before they go. People have this fear of like your muscles and your body being eaten up if you're not providing yourself with food. But um, it's uh, it's one of the things we need to explore more on the show. Swamiji had said that just through your breathing you can build your muscles, and we know this. It's not the food that builds the muscles; it's the amount of prana that you take in. So, and it's the amount of life that you're able to um, extract from and utilize through the food that you take in. So, even through Nirahara Samyama, we've had the experience of living without food. Um, uh, and my experience was that every day at morning yoga, I had more and more energy. So, we went 21 days without any solid food. Um, and it's really an amazing thing. Really, all your social frustration, like how we tend to always blame others for all our problems, all that goes away because you're left to sit with yourself and you realize this is just a play that's going on inside your mind. This frustration of self hatred and blaming others is just a play that's going on inside of you. So you realize it's something that's going inside of you and is going on inside of everyone else, and you just stop blaming everyone else for your life because you realize it's your silly mind that's causing all the problems. So, and then you can't look to food as a way to distract yourself and make yourself tired or really hyper to distract your mind. You have to just find a way to exist despite your mind's stupidity. You'll see that during morning yoga. Your mind will just say, I can't do it, I can't do it, I can't do it. While you're doing the yoga, your mind will be saying, I can't do it, I can't do it. And after some time, you'll just be like, I don't need to listen to you anymore. I've been doing it for the last 45 minutes. I don't know, what your game is. You're not needed. So a lot of times the mind is not needed. So, so for us, because of Nirahara Samyama, we have the experience that food is not needed. Just that some training is needed, and actually, I mean, the unique blessings of Swamiji and his ability to give your body the energy that it needs is really um, the reason that we're able to have that experience. But it's supported by Shastra Pramana, by the ancient scriptures, brought to light by Swamiji. So we have the experience through Nirahara Samyama that food is not needed to live. Um, and then through morning routine, where we get up by 3:30 and go to yoga by 4, and then do the panchakriyas, so cleaning the system, and then come for the puja at 6 a.m., and then go for the kirtan around 7:15, and then come for satsang at 8 a.m., and then go for breakfast by about 9 a.m. So by the time you eat every day, you've already been awake and active for 5 hours. So very few people will get up before 4 a.m., and even less will be active for those 5 hours, and even less will have not eaten any food by that time. So a very small percentage, but Swamiji is saying that this is actually the most important thing, more important than any work we're doing, to do this spiritual routine. And you can feel it, the amazing feeling connection you get, and the blissful, bubbling energy you get from each part of the routine. The yoga, of course, you feel like invincible, being able to go through that morning routine. By 4 a.m., you feel like you're going to die. By 5 a.m., you just feel like you can do anything. And then cleaning the body with these beautiful panchakriyas, and recently the Gadakai to remove the pitta layer from the brain. So that is just a whole nother level to really clean you and really be able to see the energy pathways in your body that bring prana, that bring the life force energy into your body, where the energy comes from. Whereas food may be the vessel for prana, for energy. Food is not the source of energy itself. It's a vehicle that carries the energy, just like the air. The air doesn't have not the energy itself. Air carries the prana. The prana is the energy that fuels you. Then we move to puja, which is completely shaktipada, like entanglement with the master, and the Sanskrit chanting. It literally, if you recite Sanskrit mantras inside, you can literally have that energy benefit. And because Sanskrit is such a beautiful language, the intonation and the tone and the length of the sound that you produce all changes the meaning of the word or the expression. So if you change the intonation or the tone of the sound, then the meaning changes. What it means is sound has meaning. So in any language, when you hear laughter, you know it means happiness. In any language, when you hear some terror, you know the meaning of that. And in any language, when you hear like a baby kind of screaming or crying for its mother, you know the meaning of that. Sound in itself has meaning, but what is the meaning of sound? So that is one of the things that has been decoded by masters um, in the Vedic tradition, masters like Patanjali, and they have written grammar books. And so then the system of using sound for your benefit through the chanting um, has been recorded and shared through many generations, so that when you recite and repeat those sounds, that meaning and that higher conscious meaning, if it's designed or revealed um, to enlightened beings, that benefit is recreated. So this is one of the, one of the more indication, one more of the indications of the beauty of the Vedic tradition. Everything we do, why you get up, how you get up, all these things are designed for a specific purpose of giving you conscious breakthrough. And of course, with Swamiji, the living incarnation of Sadashiva, um, you get the ultimate possibility with his own personal blessing and his own personal modification for you or for the what challenges humanity are facing today. So every single thing we do, the way we dress, why we apply the vibhuti and the kumkum and jnana, why we do the pranayama, why we clean the eyes, why you clean the nose, why you do the jalabasti, why you use the karakai, why you do the puja. Um, Everything is specifically designed to give you superconscious breakthrough, make you into a superconscious being, and to cause others to live as superconscious beings. The highest possibility in every action we take. So, so it's without doubt and without precedent the most effective and beneficial lifestyle and civilization that has ever existed on the planet. If we even look at how the Vedic tradition interacts with other civilizations, we see it's the only proven way to live. And to kind of extrapolate on that, it's the only proven way to live on the planet, the only proven way to live successfully on the planet, the only proven way to live with others on the planet, the only way to live with others without killing others. So we see that any other civilization that we can remember, whether it's Moguls, whether it's um, from the stories of the the exodus from people leaving the, the land near Syria, how people were killed, or whether it's the Romans or the Greeks or modern day civilizations, how everyone is warring with everyone. Obviously, this expression is that these beings don't know how to live with other beings, which means you don't know how to live. If you don't know how to live, you don't know how to live with life, you don't know how to support life, then you don't know how to live, period. If part of your life is killing, it's not life. Life is not supporting killing. So the Vedic tradition is the only proven method, the only proven way of living that we've seen. And the way the Vedic tradition does it, as is evidenced in, for example, Cambodia, with temples like Angkor Wat and other temples there, that many of these temples, the largest stone structures found on Earth, many of these temples were literally transported from India by boat and gifted. So this is the way that the Vedic tradition still functions and the way that it has functioned. See, we're accepting any and all gods. So it doesn't matter what God you're following. We're offering you conscious breakthrough to live through the possibility of a superconscious being. So this is the possibility. So this is the highest possibility. So whatever tradition you're following, the highest possibility is for you to live as superconscious being and to cause others to live as superconscious beings. That's what Vedic tradition does. That's what we've seen, and that's what we do. So the attitude of food is that it's not necessary, but it's like a gift. It's something we can offer, and it helps keep the body alive. So we treat it as such. So one of the things with that is, of course, sitting properly and using our hands. See, Sadashiva has gifted us with all things necessary. So if we have this beautiful body, the best body on the planet, the body that embodies all the possibilities of other bodies, the body that can express all the qualities of other bodies, breathing underwater, even flight. We see this through the yogic expression of masters throughout the ages of the Vedic tradition. Um, then why would we want to separate our body from the physical world? Why do we want to put some piece of metal stick in our hands to separate ourselves this uh, from this offering? And also, same thing when you when you interact with the physical world, like we generally will not be wearing footwear in India. So you're constantly getting the pressure points in your feet activated and you're feeling connected to the earth. The same way when you're eating, you're feeling connected to your food by using your hands. If Sadashiva gave you this, why you'll not use it? Why you'll take up some alien object and start doing operation on the beautiful food that you want to, after all, become part of you and express as part of you? Then it should be part of you. So that um, possibility and experience is there in the Vedic tradition and with eating with your hands. So, so basically, that's what we have. I'm just gonna change angle a little bit here. So here we have two idli and chutney. So we're able to eat with our hands. So you can see this is one idli there. So it's you can see it's fermented, quite a light, fluffy consistency. So that's it. So basically, what we're doing, we're eating with our hands. So you have the possibility to make this as part of your body and to really enjoy it. See, see in the Vedic tradition, when someone is cooking, basically they will only healers will be cooks. So they'll be initiated as healers, which means that they're able to heal themselves and other bodies. So when they're cooking, they'll be reciting healing mantras. So their entire being will be expressing that healing and love that will go directly into the food. It's the same thing like when you offer the food to the deities first and receive it, you can taste the blessing that come from the deities. So that's it. We have the possibility to eat with our hands, so we can really enjoy life, really enjoy having a body, enjoy having food. So the most important thing is that not that you're forcing yourself to do one thing or another, but that you're complete about it. So when you allow yourself to enjoy the possibilities of your life, then it becomes a lot easier. Develop a lot pure in completion. Also, we see a lot of times in India, people will be feeding other people with their hands, mouth to mouth. Even even 20, 30-year olds I've seen being fed by their parents with their hands. So this is something we don't never saw in North America. It's a beautiful way of living. And actually, in the yogic tradition, the children should be kept with they should have the closeness, like that motherly, fatherly feeling. They should have that. They should be allowed to have that, and be allowed to spend time with that kind of relationship. And so it's not that we need to immediately, at a certain age, separate the child from others and keep them in a crib and let them sleep in their own place. They should be allowed to uh, share that bio memory and let that beautiful bio memory grow with the benefit of having that contact. So it's the same thing with the food. You should have the contact. You should be able to use your hands. You should be able to be involved in it and enjoy it and make a mess and have fun. It's okay. It's like when it rains, you should not always just run inside. Sometimes you can walk. Sometimes you can jump and enjoy what's going on. So that's it. So we get to eat with our hands. We get to have a lot of fun, and we get to enjoy things. So here's the chutney. Here's one of the curry leaves. So you can see the little bit of oil is there. The mustard seeds are there, the roasted mustard seeds. And these are the curry leaves. And here's one of the red chilies. So to help make the saliva happen in your mouth, we can start with that even. So then the idli is there. You take some chutney, and that's it. So that's it. Eating the food, enjoying the food, and enjoying being here. So these are the kind of things that we want to share with people. It's really having the proper context for life. Not necessarily even the actions that you take, but it's the intention that you have while taking those actions. So we're going to continue sharing everything possible with everyone possible in order to cause ourselves and others to live as superconscious beings on the planet and to make sure that the entire population of the planet is living their possibility as a superconscious being. So um, make sure to join us again tomorrow, 1 p.m. India Standard Time for live cooking of Bhakti with Bhakti Shastra. See you again tomorrow. Thank you. So we'll just close today's show chanting the Purna mantra. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadhaya Purnamevavasishyate Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tat Sat Sarvam Sadguru Parakarpunamastu Om Nityanandam Nityanandam